Ah, my good and dear friends. This is Londo Molare, and I'm watching the Bad News Bards on Tennessee Tabletop Tavern.
Well, hello, Cam.
Good evening, everyone.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm okay.
Good. Good. So, took the wife out earlier. We went to Aubrey's up in Lenore City. I know nobody has any
What
idea where that's at. Uh,
for?
she had a filet mignon. It's our 23rd wedding anniversary.
Happy
So,
anniversary.
yeah. And I posted what I got her on. I think I sent it to you guys. So I went to North Carolina last weekend. I drove down there about an hour away or so and got her something, a throwback from the days, 25th anniversary, Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man Galaga arcade game. So
Cool.
that was pretty awesome.
Is it
So,
one of those 3/4 scale ones?
no, it's a cabaret. So it's 6.5 inches shorter than like the coin op arcade version, but it's the same boards. It's not
Okay.
like the one up ones that are made of the really cheap MDF. This one is. It took two of us to move it easily.
Cool.
It's all solid. You know, the MDF in it is like the same stuff that your cabinets are built out of.
hmm
So, as opposed to the cheaper stuff.
How did you hide this thing?
I barred her from coming to the basement.
I see.
so, so she had to stay out. At any rate, so yeah, so that was fun. So well, I have a show Sunday night, but we'll go out and get like an early dinner. So we did. It was still daylight when we went out, and I haven't spent that much on dinner in a while.
Mm.
I'm like, I could have bought a Kickstarter for that.
Well, money well spent, though, right?
Erudite once an asteroids. Aw, poor Erudite. Next thing we want now, of course, is she's like, well, when are we getting a pinball machine? So, speaking of Kickstarters and all that, there's a guy waiting in the wings that we're going to go ahead and bring on here. And let's go ahead and bring on Tim Duncan from CritHeads Gaming. Hello there.
How's it going?
Welcome.
Doing good. How's everything out there? No airships in trouble today, right?
Actually, as windy as it's been today, yeah, the airships are grounded.
Are they all grounded? Okay.
They are grounded. There's no way they'll survive these winds. It's going to rip them right off of the envelope.
Yeah. Yeah, they're talking here. I'm in East Tennessee. Yeah, move my camera a little bit. Um, oh, wrong way. That's what I want. And they're talking 40-mile-an-hour winds plus, maybe 60s at elevation. So,
Yeah, yeah. I'm in the Great Plains, so when it gets windy, man, it gets windy.
yeah, yeah. So, Cam likes to ask a question to kick things off, kind of the icebreaker question. So we'll go ahead and let him take it and run.
Okay. Well, I like to at least ask everyone's origin story and how they first got into role playing. And of course, we're going to ask you all about your work and everything else you're interested in. But I like to hear how you first got introduced to it. If it was a journey of some kind, or you just walked into it, been decades, whatever your story is, we'd love to hear it.
Sure, yeah. So I got introduced to it by my older brother in high school, actually. So we're talking 3.5 edition. Um, and he was the DM. It was just him and myself. So he had a DM PC. I had my character. I don't even remember the character I played, to be honest with you. But so that was my introductory to it. As life changed and we grew and we went our own ways because of life, um, I kind of fell into MMO RPGs, specifically World of Warcraft. That ate up a lot of my life.
Didn't we all? Yeah, at
Yeah,
one point.
pretty much. Um, but I always had fond memories of playing D&D. So life moves forward, decades go by, and the wife and I moved to a little town in Texas, and we are bored to tears. We have nothing else to do. But I can't really invest the kind of time into MMOs like I used to. So I I don't know, it just tickled my brain one day. I was like, well, wait a minute, what about D&D? Let me see if I can get my wife to try it. So I order up the 5e starter kit, and I get her to try it, and she wasn't really feeling the starter kit. So I was like, well, I've been writing this fantasy book for a little while. Let me just convert my world into a D&D world and get some friends going, and we'll just play online, you know. So I stumbled across Roll20, and so that's what we did. And the wife continued to play for a few months, um, before she decided that TTRPGs probably just weren't her thing. She couldn't sit still for that long.
Uh,
So, um, so Eurodite, just to answer your question real quick, I am north of Amarillo, so a little ways from you, a few hours.
yeah, we were talking before the show. I was telling him he should hit up North Texas. So
Yeah, yeah, I'm considering it. I definitely do want to add conventions to the circuit, but
yeah,
I don't know if I'll be able to this year. I may have to plan it out for next year, but we'll see. We'll see.
yeah. So you got started. You got started with 3.5. So that
Hmm.
was around 2003, 2002. Is that right?
Well, maybe it was older than that. It was. Let's
Because
see.
2000, I think, is when third edition came out. So
Okay, so it had to be an older edition then, because it was late '90s.
that might
But
have been second edition. Yeah, AD&D.
might have.
Yeah.
For some reason, the cover art from the 3.5, uh, it sticks in my head. For some reason, I distinctly remember that cover art. But yeah,
Yeah.
the years don't really match up then.
Yeah, they look like some tomes
Hmm.
in third edition. They're kind of, I still have some of my 3E stuff. Unfortunately, I lost a lot of my books, but yeah, but 3.5 came out, of course, a few years after third edition.
Yeah.
But but yeah, but you were still in high school. You making me feel old.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, graduating class 2001. So,
Oh wow. Okay.
Youngin.
yeah.
I'm gonna
Yep.
say, when did my kid graduate? He's 29 now, so yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Cam and I are old. We're old people.
Well, it's funny to hear. Just hearing it, it's like, oh yeah, I started it, and I'm not disparaging anyone from when they started or anything like that, but it's like, oh yeah, I started in 3.5. It's like, oh, that's a half of a lifetime ago at this point. It's
For some of us.
I mean, the point is that was a long time ago at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. What it did? Yeah. The OSR definition is definitely changing.
Mm.
But that does. I don't know. Are you any other background details? You said you started a long time ago.
Yeah, so you went into MMOs, and then how did you get back into where you are now? What led up to?
Yeah. So, like I said, the wife and I, we were just bored to tears in this little town. Had nothing to do, and she wasn't really feeling the official D&D material. And honestly, I kind of really wasn't feeling it either. So I converted this fantasy world that I was trying to write a novel for into a game world. And we played with friends, and we started off with a group of 8, if I recall correctly. And as people had to drop out of the game because life changes, I would find new players. So I had a good turnover of players. People would come play for a few months, drop out. New players would come play for a few months, drop out. And I kept getting the same feedback because every single one that came to me, like, they did not want to drop out.
Yeah.
Every single player was like, man, I love playing in your world. I really wish I could stick around. I really hope I can come back. So eventually, I started recording our sessions and posting them on YouTube, more or less because I got tired of writing down notes.
Yeah.
But then I was like, well, if I'm going through the effort of making these videos and posting them, who knows? Maybe I can start an actual play or something. So I signed up for X to kind of promote these videos. And the deeper I got into the community, the more I realized that there is a hunger for, if not adventure modules, at least worlds to explore, new
Yes.
worlds.
Yeah.
And since everybody that played in my world said that they loved it, they want to stick around, they want to play again, I was like, okay, well, maybe I should just write this up and put it out there and see what happens.
Okay.
And it's kind of become a runaway truck at this point. I can't stop writing.
Yeah. So I mean, and we'll get into this in a little bit, but so you started with 3.5. Did you try 4E or jump over that one, or did you?
Jumped right over to 5e.
Did
and
you
did not like it.
really? Yeah. So I mean, for me, 5th edition was okay at first, but man, it was more challenging on the DM to make it challenging for the players. Very superhero-y.
Exactly.
And it's like, but so how did you, because I noticed you've got 3 different flavors of your products, and you've got an agnostic, and then you've got a Castles and Crusades, which is the edition that I've got back here that you sent me. Is the CNC edition. And then you've also got a Shadowdark one, which is funny because I'm running a Shadowdark game with Erudite, who you see in the chat, on Mondays, so tomorrow night.
Nice.
So we're it's my first time running Shadowdark. I ran a lot of 5th edition and a lot of 3.5. I cut my DMing teeth on 3.5. So what led you with, let's go with these 3 and make a version of each one? How did you come up to doing that?
So, of course, the OGL debacle. I knew
Yeah.
I did not want to write for Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Like, don't even want to touch it with a 10-foot pole.
Right.
And I like you. I feel like it's a superhero game. It's not a grimdark, and you can't even turn it into a grimdark.
It's it's almost impossible. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, go ahead. I'm sorry. Don't let me interrupt you.
No, you're good. And grimdark is really my setting. Honestly. So like even the monsters, the Starfall Stalker that you'll find in the bestiary on the back of in the back of book 1. That is something that's supposed to give you nightmares. So
why don't you give us a 101 on your setting for the just give I'm sorry to admit I'm not familiar with your setting, so I'd love to learn a little more about it, and of course our audience would too, and then we could get into any of the topics you want, any of the details, but give us kind of the once over.
Yeah, absolutely. So my setting is versatile, we'll say.
Okay.
Within the Cataclysm adventure module, it starts off as a steampunk meets sword and sorcery world. And the world itself is supposed to be as hostile towards you as the monsters in the bestiary and the other civilizations that you run across within the adventure module. So it is supposed to be very gritty. It is supposed to be very dark, difficult to survive. And that is kind of what led me into making it available for Castles and Crusades and Shadowdark. Shadowdark, honestly, was my primary focus for that one. And then, of course, at the end of Cataclysm, it shifts again, and the world becomes a post-apocalyptic steampunk meets sword and sorcery.
Okay.
And that's kind of where I see this world going. And I'll just touch on this briefly. We can talk about it a little bit more later on, but every once in a while, I want to do an adventure module, like Cataclysm, that completely changes the world, and we start all over again. So right now, we're in our post-apocalyptic. So
can I ask you in the Cataclysm is the starting kind of overarching story that's going on in the world?
Yeah, so Cataclysm is, you could think of it as a prequel or a prehistory for the game.
Oh, okay, cool.
So I wrote it to introduce the world to your table and your players, so it doesn't go overly in depth. You're not going to.
Is that where you started out with your fiction writing, for example? Was it in that era, and then the background, the Cataclysm era that you talked about, was that where you started writing the novels?
Correct.
Okay, cool.
Yep. Yeah. So it just seemed like a natural starting point for me.
Sure.
So yeah. Sorry.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm just trying to get a sense of the kind of the setup for the world. So obviously we see a skyship there in the background and steampunk you mentioned. So is it in the pre-zone? Is it steampunk technology level kind of thing where it's not super medieval kind of thing? You have machinery and things of that nature.
Correct. Okay. A good analog would probably be like Final Fantasy 3/6,
right?
Where magic is very much in the world, but then so is technology, and it's really kind of a toss up on which is more powerful.
Is that the primary conflict going on between the technology and magic, or is there something else, some political upheaval that's leads to the post-apocalyptic world? Without giving any spoilers, don't spoil anything that But I'm just curious about the theme.
The theme of it actually is more of a political upheaval. So in the very first pages of the Cataclysm books, you'll come across the annals, and the annals kind of give you what happened over the last 150 years. Just a brief introductory.
Okay.
And essentially, each continent has more or less its own culture and, to a point, its own species, its own race.
Hmm.
Okay.
Humans and halflings and goblins come from Othelis, which is the primary continent in Aoethera. It's a landmass equivalent to, square mileage wise, equivalent to India. So it's kind of a small planet.
Okay.
And north of Othelis is another continent called Aethel. So King Bisdain wanted to claim Aethel for the humans. But the orcs had already started to settle in West Aethel and the elves in East Aethel. So he basically built a giant war machine, just conscripting soldiers from all over his kingdom. And they pushed the orcs out of Aethel pretty easily, and they besiege a major city, frontier city, by the elves called Malvik. And a lot of people, a lot of elves died during this siege. And we fast forward, the war comes to an end eventually. The king gets assassinated at the end of this war. And he didn't have any heirs. So his brother, Roderick, he wanted to more or less figure out a way to rule in peace because he knew that the kingdom was nearly bankrupt. The last thing he could really handle right now would be upheaval and claims for the throne, power struggles.
Yeah.
So he came up with the idea of, let's bring our friends the dwarves in, let's bring the elves in. Everybody gives up the title of king. They'll take the lower title of baron, and we'll kind of rule together like a triumvirate kind of deal.
How's that working out for him?
Well, one of the survivors of the Malvik siege ends up making her way to Veywol, specifically Isveywol, the capital for the elves, and working her way into being a handmaiden for the queen, kills the queen, makes it look like an accident, and
Blames the other. Blame the
Yeah.
humans. Yeah.
Well, she's right there to comfort the elven king. And, nature takes its course. She becomes the next queen or baroness at this point. And then, strangely, the king falls of the same ailment, and now she rules the elves. And she lost her entire family in Malvik, so she's got a bone to pick with the humans and the dwarves. So the whole premise of Cataclysm is she is moving pieces quietly and fighting a shadow war. And the adventurers, the players, they board an airship at the very beginning. It starts off on an airship on the way to Meridian, which you could think of as the capital of the world at this time. It's King Bisdain's new capital before he got assassinated, built in Aethel.
Okay.
And one of the Baron's daughters is traveling back with her bodyguard on this airship, and some of the Queen's men were hiding in the hold, and they want to take the airship and hold the Baron's daughter as ransom. So the party, essentially, the very first mission is to get the Baron's daughter off of this airship, right?
Yeah.
And so as the game progresses, the party just stumbles across everything that's going on, and they finally figure it out, hopefully, and expose the elven plot, which then thrusts the world back into a world war. And the Cataclysm obviously happens at the end of it, where the war, assuming that the players actually win, because it's possible they don't, but assuming that they do, the elves essentially drop a magical nuke on a certain major city. That magical nuclear device disrupts the ether, which is the magical layer that kind of blankets the world.
Right.
And when it disrupts it, it awakens a dragon that's asleep beneath a volcano. Well, up until this point, dragons did not exist in Aoethera. They exist in legend and mythology, but there's been no proof that dragons have ever existed in this world.
Okay.
So the dragon wakes up. The party has to fight the dragon. Win or lose, at the end of it, the dragon looses a magically charged roar, which awakens more dragons. And long story
Domino
short,
effect.
yeah, exactly. So thousands of dragons end up waking up, and they all loose this magical roar, which then causes the Cataclysm.
Right.
Okay.
Dying
So,
Breaks got a question. He says, generally, a creator makes a new setting because others don't deliver what the creator wants. Is this true for you? And if so, what does Aoethera do that other settings do not? For you?
okay, that is a great question. Thank you for that. And yes, Reign of Fire, awesome movie. Loved it, obviously. So, Kyle, to answer your question, what other settings don't do is they don't change, they don't evolve. So the Sword Coast is still the same Sword Coast that it was 20 years ago. You know,
Yeah.
okay, maybe some small lore details might have changed, but overall, Waterdeep is still there. You know, nothing really changes. In Aoethera, everything changes. And that was kind of the point of the first adventure module ending in an apocalypse that changes the world moving forward. So my conception is to do what I've been calling seasons, for lack of a better term. After Cataclysm, we start season 1. And what I'm going to do is I put out the lore and legends. I'm working on the bestiary. And once I get done with the bestiary, I'm going to put out scenarios that you may or may not play with, but you can pick them up if you want, and you can play them in any order to create your own epic campaigns, or just homebrew them all using lore and legends and the bestiary. That's really all you need.
Right.
And eventually, when I feel satisfied that I've got enough scenarios out there to keep everybody happy, then I'm going to do another epic adventure module like Cataclysm that changes the world again.
Okay.
So, and that's so in Dungeons and Dragons, if you get bored of the Sword Coast and you want to go explore something else, you go explore a different plane of existence, right? I'm not doing that with Aoethera. Eventually, like right now, we're starting on this small, low technology ish planet. Eventually, I see this going into space. In Lore and Legends, you discover that Aoethera actually has what you are led to believe to be 3 moons. Lore and Legends clearly tells you that one of those moons is actually a sister planet that's in a synchronous orbit.
Okay.
So eventually, you know, when the people of Aoethera reach space faring, their very first stop is going to be their sister planet, and then further out into their own galaxy, what have you.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so
This is
that's what's going to be different. It's going to change and evolve. It's not going to stay the same.
a cool concept. So, you know, when you said that about the other, I'm like, oh, well, I mean, reasonably thinking, maybe the Cataclysm isn't the first of these kinds of events either. You know, you're moving forward. Maybe there are some in the past as well that led to that. Okay, that's interesting. I
Yeah.
like the whole, you know, I like the idea of the a higher level of magic, I suppose, with the dragons and everything emerging, as part of this. So how much time is between the Cataclysm and then, the next part where you're playing the post-apocalyptic? Is it like 10 years, or is it really kind of a shorter
Like
thing?
100 years. Yeah.
So it's 150 years.
Okay. Oh, you mentioned 150. Okay.
Yep. So I tend to do things in blocks of 150 years. And the whole reason why is because it gives enough time for the dust to start to settle
Mhm.
and things to start to rebuild.
Okay.
So
Okay, so the dragons emerge, and again, I don't want to spoil anything, but when you say post-apocalyptic, the world and the continents, everything, they were well connected, meaning it'll trade between them and travel and everything was kind of the norm. And then when we pick up 150 years ago, just in general terms, are they kind of like isolated city states, or even worse? Just like complete devastation where you just got wandering tribes or something.
Yeah, so that's a great question. Depends on the continent.
Okay.
Yokai, for example, which is the ancestral home to the Dragonkin, which is our version of the Dragonborn, they remain more or less a centralized power city state, but they go from being ruled by a council of elders to being ruled by a shogunate. So their culture is very much Norse Viking combined with Japanese samurai kind of deal.
Okay.
But then moving on to Othelis, it's pretty much wandering war tribes, petty warlords. Bisdane, a city in Othelis, is ruled by its own warlord. Then you got Nigel, that's ruled by their own council of elders. So everywhere you go, it's going to be a little bit different. And as far as like global changes, so during the Cataclysm, the ether gets shredded, right? And you can imagine it going from like a blanket around the world to being like shredded gauze. So there's some wisps that go everywhere. There's holes in the ether, and there's little parts where the ether's wadded up real tight. And some of these wisps during the Cataclysm actually touch the land, and it actually rips some of the land up. So Ishvaewul, the elven capital, gets split in two. Half of it stays connected to the ground in the continent of Aewul. The other half of the city actually becomes a floating city island.
Okay.
So does the because of the Cataclysm, I would expect that the practical level of technology falls just because there's less structure to society, at least in certain places you mentioned. So does magic kind of I guess you would have falling technology and rising magic in terms of influence in the world, or kind of that struggle you mentioned?
So I want to keep technology and magic kind of head to head.
Okay.
So the way that I've done that, 150 years have passed. Yes, technology has dropped off, but over 150 years, it's still going to advance at least a little bit.
Sure.
So in Cataclysm, the firearms are basically like muzzle loaders. You get one shot and you got to reload.
Mhm.
With Lore and Legends, they move up to 6-shooters. But because technology was lost, because a whole lot of the world population was lost, manufacturing of ammunition is no longer quite there.
Prevalent, yeah.
Yeah. So there is actually a optional, though I highly encourage you use it, table where if one of your players has a firearm, every time they go to fire, they need to roll a dice. Now, there's a couple of things that could happen here. For the most part, it's probably going to function normally, but if they roll too low, it's going to be a misfire. It's not going to work at all. But if they roll too high, it could be a hot load and end up doing double damage.
Hmm.
I've done the same thing with magic. I mentioned the ether being shredded in some parts and super wadded
Right.
up in others. Well, there's dead zones. So, magic users, you got to roll the dice.
Right.
And if you roll too low, you're in an ether dead zone. Magic doesn't exist here. But if you roll real high, well, now your spell is potentially double power, double duration,
Yeah.
um, or even a wild effect. Um,
Wild magic.
mhm.
So
Yep.
does that is the I forget the word you use, the gauze, the
Mhm.
irregular blanket, let's say, is it always changing and shifting around, or is it? Oh, okay, okay,
Yep. Yep. So yeah, you could think of it as air currents in the upper atmosphere. So
okay.
it might you might be in an ether dead zone when you try to cast right now, but give it a round or two, and maybe not.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Cool. Chris is leaving. He's actually he runs a Dark Sun campaign that first time I've ever played in Dark Sun, and he does second edition. So it's kind of a neat little thing. I've played in one game. I didn't get to make it to the last session, but yeah, he's not too far from me. He's on the north side of the big city in here in East Tennessee. we're in the metro,
Nice.
if you would. I'm in the country. He's kind of in the country, but at any rate, so he's a good guy. Um, and let's see here. He did have some thing. He was concerned a little bit about pushback about the changes, but it almost sounds like what you're doing is an adventure path,
Mm.
really, almost in your setting. That's kind of the take that I'm getting from the way you're describing it. Starting off with Cataclysm and then moving on to the next things after that.
Yeah, more or less, yes. But a pick your adventure path, if you will.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So during the Cataclysm, for example, there are 12 black spires that jut up from the earth.
Okay.
So I'm eventually, because it's only me doing all this writing,
Yeah.
um, eventually I'm going to have a scenario for each one of those towers.
Okay.
Plus, I'm going to have a scenario so you can go fight for the Alliance Militarium and scenarios where you can fight for the Righteous Dominion and all these other different factions within the world, all in Aoethera lore and legends, by the way.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do all 12 towers if you don't want to. Maybe you want to do a couple of towers and then you want to go see what's going on in the pit in Sutherland and fight some demons in trench warfare. Or maybe you want to go assassinate some people in the floating island city of Ilarion.
Right.
It's one of those. Yeah, you make your own adventure, and you may or may not want to use any of the scenarios that I'm going to be releasing.
Okay. Let me ask you, so presumably you mentioned technologies is going forward, but I kind of like the idea of of technology being in fantasy worlds a bit. Is there like some technology that's just effectively been lost that characters can uncover, for example, and rediscover, and maybe or maybe not characters, but let's say a certain political faction or something, they're like, hey, they uncovered better metallurgy or fuel or something like that. And
Yes, absolutely. There's actually two very strong examples that I can give you. One is during Cataclysm, some of that adventure module. What you do is you hunt down legendary forges. So
Hmm.
there's a region of the world called the Starfall Scars, and it's called that because eons ago, meteorites came down and crashed into Aoethera in that part of the world, and they hit with such velocity that it the meteorites bored deep into the earth. Bored. Um, and over time,
What are the
over
meteorites? Well, I guess that's to be found or determined, huh?
yeah, but over time, um, those tunnels kind of they collapse and they shift with the erosion and all that. But those meteorites are a very specific metal called starfall ore. These legendary forges that you go find during the Cataclysm adventure module are the only way to form starfall ore into anything useful. One of the forges turns them into weapons, and the other one turns them into armor, magical weapons and armor. During the Cataclysm, those forges are lost. One gets pulled down into hell, and the other one, the dragon basically destroys as it crawls through the volcano. Um, so you'll there's going to be scenarios, a series of scenarios where you try to reclaim those legendary forges. So that's one. The other example I can give you is the Disciples of Steam. In Lore and Legends, I go over all the factions that are in the world, and one of the factions that's brand new since the Cataclysm is called the Disciples of Steam. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to find and collect all of Dr. Vasilevich's technology. Dr. Vasilevich, back during the Great War, during that siege of Malvik that I mentioned earlier, the elves, they were more or less, they had it bad. So they were not winning. Tactically speaking, they are better than the humans and the dwarves, but they don't have the manpower that the humans do, and they don't have the technology that the dwarves do. So Dr. Vasilevich came up with the Sentinel program. And what that was is they would take wounded and dying elven soldiers and transplant their brains into mechanical bodies called Sentinels.
Okay.
And that is a playable race in the Cataclysm Adventure module. In Lore and Legends, that technology is lost. And the Disciples of Steam are basically transhumanists that want to be Sentinels, but the organic brain inside of a machine lasts only so long before the brain gives way to madness because you can no longer really feel anything.
Then you have
Right?
crazy killing machines.
Exactly.
Cybermen.
Yep. So the Disciples of Steam, they want to ascend to being Sentinels
Yeah.
without the madness.
Yeah.
So, of course, there's going to be a series of scenarios where you gather lost technology for the Disciples of Steam, and maybe you can become a disciple yourself and hack off a perfectly healthy arm and get it replaced with a cybernetic one. Why not?
Yeah, almost cyberpunk. But yeah. So there's two questions that I've seen in here. One again from Kyle, Dying Breed.
Mhm.
Good guy there. It says, with the setting so rich in deep lore, do you think this is a barrier for entry among some GMs or players?
No, I don't. And this is why. I did the Cataclysm adventure module first, which is a toe dip in the waters of the world. So you are playing in the world with just a fraction of this lore.
Okay.
After the Cataclysm, that's when Lore and Legends comes in, and that is a true source material codex. It is over 100 pages. It's not an adventure module, and that is where you dive deep into the lore.
Wow.
But at the same time, I highly encourage people, every time I'm on X, every time it comes up, I highly encourage people, make Aoethera yours,
Yeah.
and then tell me about your Aoethera.
You
I
want to
mean,
hear
there's
you want to hear this you want to hear the tales from the table, so to speak.
I absolutely do, and there's a chance it could end up canon. You know, you could see a name of one of your heroic characters become a person of legend in, or a person of reference, or an NPC. You know,
Right.
so
Cool.
The other one was from Jeanette, and she was asking when you were talking about firearms. It just says if you're shooting a weapon, uh, could it misfire and cause you to take damage? So basically, a critical failure type of situation with these type of weapons.
yeah. So I actually that is a at home table rule. Um,
Okay.
Whenever we do like roll a critical failure, yeah, it explodes in the player's face, and they take half damage.
Kind of
So,
like when Bugs Bunny stuck his finger in the thing, and Elmer Fudd fires his shotgun.
yep, yep,
Except there's no Bugs Bunny, and that doesn't really work, folks. Don't do that.
no,
uh,
uh,
but well, and the reason it stands to reason, you know, especially with systems such as Shadowdark and CNC, I could see critical failures definitely come in handy. I mean, Shadowdark rules. If you cast a spell and you do a critical failure on a casting, you lose the ability to cast that spell for until you actually get a break. So
yeah, yeah. So why not damage a gun? It's
yeah,
same.
yeah,
Now I have not written that in. Um, that is, like I said, more of a table rule
yeah.
at my table. So if you're one of my players and you roll a one,
Expect
expect
it
to
to
take
happen.
damage.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um, as far as little things like that, I try not to step on the GM's toes, if
yeah,
you will. I'm not going to tell you how to run your games. I'm just trying to give you a world within which to run your games.
yes. Here's a canvas painting, but I want you to mark it up. you
Yep.
know.
Well,
Yeah.
that's an excellent point because, well, I'll just say, Forgotten Realms, for example, I don't like Forgotten Realms, and it is one of those that always feels like it's not really yours. It's someone
Mhm.
else's world, and they're it's so built up. Elminster and these guys. It's they're you're never going to be them, right? It's there's always this higher class than you, and not to say that I mind playing in a world where you're not like some godly character, but it just seems overwhelmed by them. Everything that's going on is someone else's game, essentially.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and that's why I didn't really care for the starter box set for 5e that I tried to introduce to my wife.
mhm.
Um, it's like, man, I've been out of D&D for so long. I don't remember anything about the Sword Coast. Like I remember Baldur's Gate, I remember Waterdeep, and that's it. That's really all I remembered. And it's like, well, I mean, yeah, I can shoot from the hip, I can make it my own, or I can just make my own.
yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Well, there's a lot of the problem is WotC got stuck in a rut. There the Sword Coast is only a small piece of Faerun,
Right.
mhm.
you know, and
Yeah,
there
it's a
is
small piece of the continent, even one
yeah,
continent.
it's just
Yeah,
the part of the closest they got was going to Chult, and it was like, okay, finally somewhere else, and somewhere, and then it's like, okay, and we're back in Neverwinter, we're back in Waterdeep, or we're back in Icewind Dale. It's
yeah,
like yeah, but there's so many other places to go in the world, and and that's one of the most frustrating things because there's there there is a lot of things, I mean, spell jamming was even tied into, uh, you know, there's a city down there where there's a starport, in underneath, and nobody, and it's like, yeah, we're not gonna go there, there's multiple areas, and even at least in third edition, 3.5 included, they explored a lot of those, but it seems like, once they moved on from third edition, they've almost never do any callbacks to any of the other areas. That there
Well,
was some classic AD&D. You might not be old enough to remember the SSI Gold Box games. I played them as a kid. Okay, I have them all. There was a Humble Bundle that had them. I've got them all sitting here. I could bring up any one of them, and at least a half a dozen of those games were based in Faerun.
mhm.
They weren't in Neverwinter. They were they were
Okay.
Well, Jeff,
yeah.
you only need so much territory to go to prom and coffee shops. So
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have problems in coffee shops, right? Please tell me.
No. 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 No.
We're not doing
Now,
Strixhaven here.
bakeries.
There's not enough time.
Uh,
Bakeries where they get matching tattoos and
I mean, I love good croissant. I may have to fold on the whole bakery thing, but
well, give me
or
a cherry
crumble cookie.
turnover. I'm good with the cherry turnover.
Oh yeah. Oh
That's
yeah.
fine. Does it before the adventure, just not for the adventure?
Right. We're not making one in the adventure.
Well, and that's another thing. It's like the only real established business that I have in Aoethera is Dusk Willow's Reprieve. And only because it ties into the history and it offers basically a Walmart of adventuring for the party. Otherwise, you can fill out a city however you see fit.
Right.
Okay. So let me ask you. You mentioned, because this is for different system. You've got the Shadowdark and
Three, yeah.
Castles and Crusades, and then the other one was just agnostic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So, and you mentioned some of the the races that you have in there, and you mentioned the class with where they put their brains in the machine. Do you have other classes that are specific for your for the system, or are you using kind of the whatever's from the system that you're going into?
So classes, no. I don't have any specific classes. Even the Sentinel, that's a playable race
Okay.
more than a class. So for Shadow Dark campaign, if you want to play a Sentinel, that's your race, and then you can still pick, am I a fighter, a thief, whatever,
Okay.
I do want to do classes, but I'm also system agnostic is the main focus, I'll say.
Sure.
It's kind of it's split between Shadowdark and system agnostic because I like to play it in Shadowdark, but I also want to make it easy and available for whatever system you like, to include non D20 systems, by the way.
Well, like I
So
said, I was pleased as punch to see that this is the Castles and Crusades edition, because I'm a huge CNC fan.
mhm,
I think CNC is the best edition of D&D, and
yeah,
I'll die on that hill. Shadowdark's fun. It's really easy to get going, but so I was like, oh, when I was looking it up, and because I got this thanks to Nerd Cognito.
mhm.
Um, and it was very fortuitous. Thanks out there, Ryan, and of course Kyle. But and Siobhan, I should make sure I include her too. I forget she's like a regular on the show now.
And Bert, even though he hasn't been around much.
Yeah, I haven't seen Bert in forever, man.
Yeah, it's sad. I like Bert,
Yeah,
especially Reddit. When Reddit comes up with when Bert's on the show, priceless.
I just can't go to Reddit anymore. I just I can't afford to buy them new monitors all the time.
Right.
It's like I know. It's like I have to be careful what I watch on the television because I just can't afford a new 85-inch TV all the time.
Mhm. Yep.
But do you intend on continuing um the doing a CNC version, or are you just going to do a
Mhm.
Shadowdark? I mean, because I know Shadowdark. We've had we've talked to Chubby Funster before. I don't know if you're familiar with him or not, but
Mhm. Oh yeah.
he has a bunch of stuff that's Shadowdark. I have a lot of his stuff, but I don't even have half of it. And we're, we played in a Shadowrun game of his, which of course is loosely based on the Skyrim uh, setting.
Yeah.
And he's done a lot of things. I've got his Shadow City, which is a vampire, 1980s vampire setting.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I'm definitely going to keep going with Castles and Crusades just as much as Shadowdark and System Agnostic. Um, well, yeah, we'll see. Um, my my conception at first was to try to make a version for as many different systems as I possibly could.
right,
And I started off writing in Shadowdark, and then I did
okay,
Castles and Crusades.
yeah,
And I was looking at doing the Year Zero engine from Free League and looking into, okay, what's their third party? What am I giving up by putting their logo on this?
yeah,
What do I have to gain from it, etc. And I was like, this is ridiculous. I am never going to get anything but Cataclysm written if I'm trying to put out, 20, 30 different types,
right.
different versions. And then never mind the expense of like ordering proofs for the
Each,
print on demand options.
yeah.
And that racks up fast.
Now
um,
did you do these the PODs? Were they done through drive through?
yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Have
Exclusive.
you looked at Lulu as a possibility for print on demand?
I have not.
N-
Um,
And
I've
let me tell you. So Lulu, from a uh, perspective, the module that I'm running, the Shadow Dark module I'm running on these Monday night streams right now, with Erudite and some of the other ones, came from Tom Wilson. Tom Wilson is the creator of ShireCon, and he also publishes some modules. He's like the rest of us. He's got a day job, you know.
mhm.
He's like a firefighter. All right, that's his real, you know, in real life. So he's got some serious stuff going on. But but when he did his Kickstarter, like he just finished one. He ran a 10-day Kickstarter and funded 10 days.
Wow.
Did not
Okay.
even run it for 30 days. Uh, and it like went over his things. He's gonna have. I'll probably will have that book in a month. I will have that before June. I can almost guarantee you. Probably I'll have it in May, because he uses Lulu. Lulu is anywhere from like basically figure a week. By
Hmm.
comparison, I ordered the Shadow Sun setting from Drive Through when we started playing the game that Chubby was running, and I got it the week after we finished our series of games. So
Okay.
that's when I actually got it in print, you know, because
Yeah.
I want the book. I want the physical book. I love physical books. Um, you know, PDFs are great for searching. They're great for being able to pull images and throw them into, your favorite VTT if you're running it online or whatever. Or,
Yep.
or even in Discord if you're trying to, hey, this is what this character looks like. This is what you're seeing, or this is what the keep looks like, etc.
Hmm.
Um, but I can't just sit down and read a PDF sitting in my easy chair. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got a tablet. I know I could do it that way, and I have tried. It's not the same, you
No,
know.
not at all.
So,
Yeah.
but my point was, I'm kind of get lost in my own point here. But my point was, 2 to 5 business days is like Lulu's turnaround time for POD, as opposed to 6 weeks.
Yeah, I may have to look into changing from exclusive then,
Yeah.
and offering through Lulu as
I
well
don't.
then.
Does drive through give any benefits to a creator for being exclusive through them, or?
An additional 10%.
Mm.
That's it.
It's just fulfillment was so much quicker. That's been my experience with Lulu. Yeah, because I looked at that and I can I know when a book I could tell that I'm like, oh yeah, he used drive through. When I
Mhm.
looked at the very last page and I see where it was printed, and I'm like, and of course this thing literally went from here in Tennessee to you, and then you mailed this to me. 'Cause-
The irony of it.
yeah, right. So, but yeah, but the Shadow Rim book from that adventure, that that was printed here in Tennessee too, and it still took forever. It took 6 weeks to get to me, and I'm like, really? So
Yeah, I am going to give that serious consideration. Thank
yeah,
you for that, because
it's
I like to keep a small stock on hand,
yeah,
because there are some game stores down in Amarillo that I try to sell to, and then
sure.
over
Cons, if you
Christmas.
do any cons,
Yep,
you would
exactly.
want to, you might want to, or at least partner up with a couple other people at some of the cons and have your product there,
Yeah.
with some other indies and stuff like that.
Well,
Um,
that definitely is the goal, is
yeah,
to have my own booth at a con, um, at multiple cons,
yeah,
if I can. But yeah, I when the day that Lauren Legends came back approved and went on the market, I went ahead and I ordered 3 copies of each: hard
okay,
print, soft print, all 3 systems.
yeah.
And I just got the email earlier today that they've finally shipped.
Yeah,
And
and
it's
how long ago was that?
at least 6 weeks.
See?
Yeah, it's
So, am I wrong?
no, not at all. Like
You know?
spot on. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, if Lulu's got a faster turnaround,
The
man.
the difference is drive-through has it's kind of like the difference between YouTube and Rumble.
Mhm.
You can easily find stuff on YouTube. Rumble, you got to kind of you know what you're looking for, right? You got to be able
Mhm.
to search for it. If Lulu had Lulu's front end is designed for creators who want to print their stuff.
Okay.
But they have a library tab. What they need to do is flip that model around so that anybody that goes to Lulu it's got it from the consumer's perspective, and then a login, a thing to log if you're a creator and you want to do your book, that should
Yeah.
take you off to someplace up. That's my personal thought. Maybe we should get the people from Lulu on here at some point. What do you
Please
think?
do.
um, but that's my it's just my experience has been the turnaround time was crazy fast. I was like, he shipped it to me and it was drop shipped from Lulu, and like but the Kickstarter just ended. Well, how to and of course he's I don't know about your process, but are you doing did you do a Kickstarter backer kit, some sort of crowdfunding, or you just totally
Nope.
funded this on your own?
100% on my own. Um, I thought about doing a Kickstarter,
Yeah,
but I didn't want to get lost in that sea. And also, there was a little bit of, we'll call it performance anxiety.
I get you. I get
Yeah,
you.
I since it was my very first time trying to put anything out, publishing anything at all,
Right.
I didn't know if it was going to be a hit or not. I didn't want to disappoint, or tick people off, because it's like, oh, I backed you, and this is a piece of crap. What the hell is this? you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So I wanted to put it out, see if it stands on its own merits, and go from there.
I get it. I get it. And Chubby's the same way. Chubby doesn't do Kickstarters.
Mhm.
He just he's a machine though. He cranks stuff out. He's now going back and working on his Shadow Sun. He's revising it and expanding it. He's going to do a Shadow Sun 2.0 version of his book. I don't even have the first one. I need to order that one. But he's already, but he likes to. And this will turn into a question for you. He likes to put all of his focus in on one thing, and then when he's done with it, he puts it away and doesn't want to touch it. Like he
Mhm.
finished the Shadow City, he doesn't want to run that yet. He didn't want to run that yet for us. That's why we did the Shadow Rim, which was one that he had done previously, right? Now he's working on the Shadow Sun, so now we might be able to get him to run, the Shadow City at now here because he's like he doesn't want to touch it for a while because he's too close. How does your process work on creating? I mean, you're what two publications in now at this point there, and the new one is available, right? You can get it on
Mhm.
drive through. So
Yep.
um,
Yep. Lauren Legends is available. So you can order it, and 6 weeks from now, when you get the hard
six
copy,
to 8 weeks.
you
Allow
can
6 to 8 weeks for delivery.
yeah, you can start home brewing.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe I'll be done with the bestiary by then.
Yeah.
Uh, but
Well, I mean, definitely keep the drive-through especially for PDF. And some people
mhm.
do. I hear in the UK and in the EU, it's really great. Like they have really rapid turnaround time. But it seems like here in the States, they're just backed up, and it's like they're
Yeah,
from here. What's going on? So anyway,
yeah,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead and tell me
yeah.
your creative process.
So, man. So with Cataclysm, that's probably the best example. And it looks like I'm going to be doing the same thing with season one scenarios. Um, More or less, I thought it up. I kind of outline it to a point, but all mentally. So a lot of it gets forgotten or changed. And then me and my playtesters uh, playtest the idea out and just to see how it goes. And then I'll actually start writing and I will start making adjustments and changes and whatnot. Um, so, for example, with Cataclysm, the very first video that I recorded, the title of it is Gone Full Anakin. And because the party was going into a bullywog den and they massacred them all, even the younglings. uh, Hence the name of the title. Well, in the Cataclysm Adventure module, I decided, you know what? I'm not doing bullywogs. I'm doing a Naga Den. So that's just an example of how it can change from the play test to the actual product. Um, I decided I want something with a little more teeth
Yeah.
than frog people. Um, and right now, we're kind of taking a break. Me and my play group, we're taking a break from Aoethera just to give me the chance to catch up with the bestiary
You
and
need a
to get
breather.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once I have the bestiary compiled, then we're going to start testing scenarios. And I'm going to continue to put these videos up. So every Sunday at 10 a.m., you can log on to my Rumble, you can log on to my YouTube, what have you, and you can see what we're kind of play testing and get a feel of what kind of scenario I'm looking at writing
Right.
for this season one that's upon us. So, and so that's kind of my process. Dream it up, try it out, refine it, then write it and make it available.
All
So,
right. Good.
I guess it's kind of the opposite of Chubby Funster then. If he doesn't play it until he's got another product done, I'm kind of doing
Well,
the opposite.
no, he does play tests and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is like for him, once he's finished with it and it's gone to print, then he's done using it. Yeah. So
Ah, gotcha.
he's like,
Okay.
I don't want to think about it anymore. I'm on my next project now. I don't want to revisit it
See,
because
I
the
wouldn't
artist is
mind.
never done it, right. You're always wanting to
Yeah,
tweak stuff. So
I wouldn't mind revisiting Cataclysm. Um, but I think I would want to do it with a different play group and just to see how the story changes.
Right.
So, because that's the thing, like, yes, it's an adventure module. Yes, there's an overarching story. And to get to the end, you want to at least loosely follow that story. But I keep it as vague as I possibly can so that there's room for you to make it yours.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's good. And I put up the QR code there for you.
Thank you.
For anybody who might be watching this and wants to just go ahead and scan it with your phone. I'll post the link again in the chat as well. Oh, it looks like it's still there. Pretty clear. If anybody has any questions, just drop them in the chat, man. We'll bring them up. We still got a little bit of time left before Cam has to go powder his nose in between shows. So your next project after this one, what is what now? How far along are you?
Yeah, it's the official bestiary for season 1.
Okay.
Which I put a poll up on X, and I let those that follow me kind of decide what it's going to be called.
Yeah.
I liked Aoethera Monsters and Machines, but the tribe has spoken, and they said they want Aoethera Animals, Oddities, and Where to Find Them.
But because of course we're gonna just remember this: Bodie McBoatface.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Yep.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. So I haven't updated the cover art or anything, but I can share my screen and give you all a little
Yeah, if
bit
you
of
want to
an
go ahead and
exclusive
share,
here.
I'll you tell it to share and I will allow it.
Okay.
There we go.
Let's see. So I haven't updated the cover art. Still need to work on that entrance, but okay. So table of contents. So I've started on the U's. So as you can see, I am a little over. I'm like 153 pages in on this. So yeah, it's rolling. But yeah, this is what you can expect.
You're doing everything in Word too. Wow.
Yeah.
Looks nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so got a little piranha monster here that you can go fishing for if you so choose. And then don't know how well you can see it, but every single creature, it's going to have a picture in the upper left. It's going to
Yeah.
have stats. In this case, this is the system agnostic.
Yeah.
It'll have stats on the upper right, a quick little write up so that you can get a feel for this monster, how it behaves, where
Right.
it lives, what's it like, and then of course the habitat map showing you this is where they live. The light blue is sparsely populated, all the way to dark blue, where it's like you're pretty much guaranteed to run into them. So in the case of this piranha monster, this island nation down here, that's Ziana. It's basically a jungle world. It's got this giant river that bisects it, and as you can see, it's all dark blue. You're pretty much guaranteed to encounter these fish if you take a plunge in that river.
Okay.
And of course, this is one of our unique monsters, the Abyssal Octarch.
It looks fun.
Oh yeah, he's a lot of fun. He's in the Cataclysm as well, the Cataclysm adventure module.
In the first book? Oh, look him.
That's correct. The quest that I told you about, where you go to the Starfall Scars to collect Starfall ore, that's where you encounter him.
Okay.
So he's semi-aquatic. He can do land or he can do water, kind of like an octopus.
Yeah.
And as you can see from the map, he's pretty much a deep water creature. Then of course we got werecats.
Yeah.
So
and he can paralyze you. Ooh. Watch out for paralysis, especially underwater.
Oh yeah. Then, of course, since it's not just monsters, there's also machines in the world. Here's an example of a post Cataclysm airship. It's called a Dart. It's basically a four-person airship. And the envelope and the gondola are kind of built in together. So it's a precursor airplane, if you will.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna have that Iron Maiden song of Bruce's running through my head.
Yep.
Bruce Dickinson, the lead singer of Iron Maiden, is, for those that don't know, is first of all, was a certified commercial airline pilot, in addition to being the lead singer, probably one of the most followed bands on the planet. But he's also got a company of where he does airships, so that's one of his businesses. So he's really into the airship thing. Did a whole his opus is about the clouds and the airship and the this and that. It's like a 14-minute long song or something like it. It's crazy.
Oof.
But Black Mirror, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, so that's another one of an Aoethera original. I think it's an original anyway. But essentially, what it does is when you end your turn
Yeah.
within the view cone of this mirror, it duplicates you.
Uh-oh.
And that duplicate, basically, it wants to kill you and take over your life and then kill everybody that you've ever loved.
Oh, that's all.
Yeah. So if
no big deal.
So if you've got a seriously overpowered party and you want to try to rein them in a little bit and make them start over from scratch, put a black mirror somewhere.
Yeah. The question is, do you make the mirror the player for the original play the mirror as well and attack itself? Is that too cruel?
I don't, but I love where your head's at. I think it's a great idea.
No, give it to their rival at the gaming table.
Oh yeah, there you go. Well, I mean, they always complain about player agency, right? So
yeah.
Oh, you're just out after me. No. You mess with the
so
mirror.
You mentioned at the outset about the grim setting. Okay, so I'll just reference for ease here, like Lovecraft. The darkness of all that is because of this underlying cosmic horror kind of thing. Is yours? Do you have something behind the scenes like that, or is it just the situation? It's post-apocalyptic. It's an ugly, rough and tumble world, or is there something more lurking?
Not to go too philosophical or anything, but there is no monster greater than the man within.
Okay.
So for me, it's not any kind of squid face eldritch horror. It is the situation created by the people that surround you.
That's a very realistic view that is accurate, I think, unfortunately. But
sadly.
Yeah.
Sadly. But it also gives me a dearth of information and potential,
Sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So also you'll see that, all these monsters, it's like they're not all new. Like the doppelganger, that's tried and true. Everybody's had a doppelganger. But of course, everything has its own Aoethera flavor to it. So a doppelganger, kind of like the duplicate from a Black Mirror, it wants to kill you and take over your life. Unlike the duplicate of the Black Mirror, that's where the violence ends for the doppelganger, unless somebody finds out it's not really you.
Yeah. Well, I apparently I have a doppelganger. I either must have stepped in front of a Black Mirror, or there's actually a doppelganger that's. Every time I run to the convenience store, they're like, you look just like this other guy that works up the street.
Watch your back.
I know, right? And small world.
Yeah.
But
So yeah, even dragons, I've managed to put my own little twist on. So dragons in Aoethera, they only breathe fire, unlike D&D dragons.
Okay.
And their characteristics are determined by their color, or rather, their color is determined by their characteristics, like their personality, how aggressive they are, how territorial they are, etc. But there are different breeds with different tails. So, like, we've got the blade tail dragon,
Yeah.
where essentially the tip of his tail is a sword made of bone. So they've all got their different osteoforms. Then we've got the club tail,
Yeah.
where basically his tail's a wrecking ball.
Yeah.
Feather tails, where it's like a multi-bladed kind of deal, like a fan.
Yeah.
And then the spike tails.
Ah,
So
that's
those
good.
are the 4 different types, and they come in 9 different colors. So yeah,
That's pretty awesome there.
thank you. Yeah,
Um,
I'm proud of how the elementals turned out. AI did a good job. So
yeah. Well, that's you know, that's pretty that's pretty awesome. It's what's your ETA on it? I know when it's done, right?
oh
But
gosh, yeah. I'm hoping to have it done by June. Oh yeah,
it's not
Medusas.
too far away. I mean, that's
Yeah, I seem to be able to turn things out within 3 to 5 months, I would say, because so Cataclysm Book One came to market in early August.
yeah,
And since then, I've put out Book Two and Lorne Legends.
right.
And Lorne Legends was a pretty big project. So, and I'm making really good progress on the bestiary as well, especially considering just all the work that goes into it.
Right.
So,
I mean, you're pretty far along here. You know, you got a lot of the stats written, and of course, a lot like you said, a lot of them are in the other books too. So that's
yeah,
just we're just I like that you're doing that though, that you're not forcing people to look in 3 different books for stuff. Because that is one of those aggravating things when you've got to go and hunt. Okay, well, what book is this monster in? It's over in you know what I mean? And you're having to
yeah,
check. Oh, it's not in the monster manual. It's in so and so's guide to monsters.
yep,
Or the codex of this, or codex creature codex arcana, or just whatever kind of that's very aggravating when you have to hunt them. So I do like that you are putting them all in.
yeah, and that was almost a well, it just makes sense kind of moment. Um, so in the back of Cataclysm in both books, there are bestiaries specific to those books. So no
Right,
matter what, it was always my plan that you will not have to hunt for the stats of the monsters. They're
right.
going to be in the back of the book, every single time. And then I was like, well, if I'm going to do that, why don't I make it easy on myself and just compile them all together so that as I'm writing these books, I can just copy and paste. And then I was like, well, if I'm going to do that, why don't I just release the bestiary as well? So,
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so that's kind of what I'm doing, and that's why I needed to take a break from playtesting and get caught up on this. Um,
But you are putting in additional stuff that's going to be in the bestiary that's not necessarily been in any of the adventures. So if a DM, GM, CK, what have you,
mhm.
is wants to add some flavor and make something, as you said, make something their own. Draw all over your painting, if you will, because that's what they do.
Yep.
That's what we like to do. We were like, okay, thanks for this. I'm going to take this and color it with crayons all over.
Yeah.
you know.
Absolutely,
We're
please
gonna
do.
mess it up. And
Yeah,
then tell you the stories. Just make sure they tell you the stories. You want to hear how people used it.
exactly. Yeah, in the front of all the books, well, which is just book one and book two of Cataclysm so far,
Yeah.
I actually make mention of um, a lot of the monsters overlap with monsters from your favorite bestiaries, but they don't necessarily align perfectly.
Right.
And I believe I would have to go back and reread it rather. But I believe I put in there that feel free to use whatever monsters you want. These are the ones I recommend, but add, take away, change, whatever you want to do.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I like the page style too. And this is all color.
Hmm.
Well, I mean it's sometimes it's brown and black, but but
Yeah.
it's all color. Like all the pictures are color in the whole book. So that's kind of you know I know Shadowdark. Uh, a lot of the Shadowdark publications tends to be the classic black and white.
Hmm.
Even the covers are tending to do that. But there are a few artists that I out that some creators that are coming up with new stuff that is they're like there's no reason why we have to be black and white.
Yeah.
I'm going to put a color cover on it, and I'm going to throw some color pictures in it too.
Yep. So I wanted to, I don't know, when I play things out in my head, they almost play like movies. So of
Right.
course it's realistic looking, it's in color. So I kind of wanted to do that here as well.
Right.
So
Well, it sounds really good. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, you did put a lot of work into this.
yes, sir. I actually wrote this guy up earlier today, the troglodyte.
Yeah.
Did my own little take on him. So, but yeah,
Well,
that's that's what's next.
it's it looks really great. Cam, what do you think, man?
I like it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
Thank
like
you.
the
definitely.
and they were asking about deep lore and stuff. I like deep lore.
Yeah, me
I
too.
love to be honest with you. With I'm a settings nerd. Like if any story or fiction, IP, whatever, I love delving into background information in stories. So it sounds like something I'd enjoy. Given that you have this 150 years of material right at the outset.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you. Um, Actually, if you don't mind, I could do another screen share
sure.
and let's see. Okay, so this is Lore and Legends, which you don't have yet. I went ahead and I pulled up the Castles and Crusades edition.
Okay.
Um, so let's see. Let's go down to factions. So yeah, I've got write ups on the deities. Let's just show you this all. So the annals. I go
Oh,
over.
yeah.
I give you.
I was gonna ask about the gods and such.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So I go over all the details for the last basically, you know, 300 years, essentially.
The last two
Um,
two two seasons, if you will, or two books, pretty much, right?
well, yeah.
Or a little
So
before that.
the Cataclysm, and the 150 years before the Cataclysm.
Right.
Um, and then we get into the state of things as they are since the Cataclysm, which includes the economy, how the ether and the firearms that we discussed earlier, how that kind of plays out, different mounts and machines within the world, etc. And then the pivotal locations, going over the different continents and the cities and the cultures. And then, of course, the races
Right.
that you can play. Then we go into the deities. So well, my favorite's Thalorin, so let's jump to him real quick. All right, so Thalorin is basically the god of justice. and righteousness. So your paladin, your average paladin, is going to be a worshiper of Thalarin. Um, yeah. So this kind of just tells you about the god, what he is into, what he represents, um, who would worship him and why. And then it goes into his symbols and his signs. So his holidays as well.
Mm.
Down here in this next,
And I'm going to say that they probably they revere the holidays, or they show reverence on the holidays. I'm sure
yes,
paladins do. Yeah.
yeah. So right here, this very first one, the day of two dawns, two dusks, twice a year, spring and autumn equinox. The holiest day in the calendar, on the day of the equinox, no court sits, no contract is signed, no blood may be spilled legally. At the exact instant of balance, every bell in every temple of Thalarin rings once. People stand in open doorways facing west in spring, east in autumn, and speak aloud one injustice they will right before the next equinox. Knights renew oaths on bended knee, and judges break their old seals and forge new ones in Solstice's light.
Huh.
So
Okay.
that's
That's pretty awesome. Yeah.
thank you.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Question is, what happens if somebody attacks them on that day?
Non-lethal damage. You can knock them out. You can beat someone's ass. Just don't kill them.
Can't kill them. Okay.
Yep.
Because the enemies don't always play by the same rules.
Yeah, they never do. But that's
Yeah.
why being a paladin is such
Higher
an
calling.
honorable path.
Yeah.
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 And then here's the legendary forges I told you about earlier. So Evor's Forge, this is the one that makes the armor, and then Cradle of the Gods is the one that makes the weapons.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And those are the only two that anyone knows of.
those are the only two in existence at all.
Okay.
So Evor's Forge is it's in the volcano on Yokai called Evor's Phallus, and there's some lore to that as well. Essentially, the dragonkin, their belief is that dragons created the world of Aoethera. They are the creators of the universe. And one of the trickster god, Osoroshi, wanted to capture a dragon and force them to create a world for him. Of course, he couldn't overpower a full grown dragon or anything like that, so he found a runt named Ivor. And he basically beat the crap out of Ivor and then went to go get some chains to drag him off to enslave him and make him create his own realm. And Haley, the goddess of love, saw Ivor bleeding on the ground. She knew that she couldn't really help Ivor immediately. She certainly couldn't take on Osoroshi, but being the goddess of love and fertility, there was one thing she could do, and so she's the mother of all dragonkin because of it.
Ah.
So the volcano being Ivor is named Evor's Phallus, and there's a separate island off to the side from Yokai named Haley's Womb. That's basically where marital and first clutches, marital rites and first clutches take place on Haley's Womb. And it's said that if Evor's Phallus erupts and a lava bomb strikes Haley's Womb during your marital rites, then your marriage is going to be blessed. And if it happens again when your wife lays her first clutch, that your children will be, excuse me, extremely powerful warriors. So just a little more lore into that one. And
Just Outpost Nerd, one of our viewers here, was asking about the illustrations. I think you mentioned that you had done use AI for some of those.
yeah, unfortunately, I would love to use a real artist. I really would. but I can't. It's me. I'm funding it all by myself. So yeah, I use Leonardo and the Lucid Origin model.
Okay. I don't know anything about making those kinds of images. It's um I actually I might not be popular for saying this. I actually think that for role playing games, it's one of the places where it makes the most sense, um, because um, especially if you have a lot of illustrations,
Mhm.
and the creativity of the role playing game, in my opinion, is not necessarily the images. It's the game system, the story, um, those kinds of things. So while again, I like um, human drawn art as well. Um, I understand it for games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I have a lot of friends that are out there that are artists,
Mhm.
and I understand both sides of the argument too. It's I think it's a difference when you're somebody like the size of WotC,
Yeah,
or when you're the size of even Goodman Games, or something like that, embracing the we're all real artists, you know. But if you're a one man band, yeah, what do you do, right? And I get it, certainly,
yeah,
especially when you're putting up all the upfront money and trying to get everything, taken care of. It's a challenge, and maybe at some point you can revisit it and come out with a a future book. It all depends on the popularity, and if you've got the success. So,
yeah,
you know,
Well,
yeah.
let's be honest. It won't be just small producers who can't afford it. It's going to be mega corporations who say, "Hey, we can save a ton of money on this, and
yeah,
let's do it." I mean, and yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, this is a bit of a tangent, but I'm sure people have seen the movie, the homemade movie trailers and things, and
yeah,
or even
Mhm.
segments of movies, and it's one of those. AI has its own flaws and everything, but let's be honest, the best product, let's say human art is the best, just for the purpose of the argument.
Mhm.
Many things that aren't the best aren't what end up working economically, right? Walmart is very popular for a reason because they put out cheap stuff, that maybe isn't made where people would prefer it to be made, and so on and so forth. But economics is economics, and the quality is getting way better than it was a couple of years ago for sure. And regardless of preference, economics is still going to come into play. And uh,
yeah.
like I said,
Yeah.
for
But the
these,
but the content itself is all yours, right?
Yes,
So
yeah,
yes.
so you're
Now, I do run it through AI to be like my editor, and
yeah.
also to
Check
every
your
now and
grammars,
again.
make sure the logic is sound, and yeah, yeah,
Right, right. And I do occasionally like run a paragraph or a sentence or whatever through it, and I'm like, hey, how would you polish this up? Just to kind of see,
sure.
does it come up with something decent that's worth keeping or rewriting? Most of the time, no, it doesn't. But sometimes.
Yeah,
so
and
I
as
sorry,
Agile
go ahead.
Monk says here, just acknowledge you're using AI and why,
Mhm.
and be upfront about it. Don't try and hide it. That's, I
Yeah.
think, the biggest problem with what WotC has done, and some of the other ones, is that they're trying to pawn off art as as uh, human. Oh yeah, no, we don't use AI, but really, then it comes out, uh, that it was. And that was Jeanette, by the way.
Happy
She's
anniversary.
my studio audience there. She'll hear it in a few minutes. She's got her earbuds in, so she's listening on that. So, but
Nice, nice.
yeah, yep. See, but at any rate, no, this is it looks great. I'm excited to actually take it for a test spin at some point here. Of
You'll
course, I
have to
have.
let me know. You'll have to tell me all about it.
Well, yeah. Hopefully, I'll have some tales. We still tell tales of stuff that we did Oh, and third edition, yeah. So,
Yeah.
but it's let's see, Outpost. Oh yeah, I see. Speaking of Agile, Agile Monk he's like you. He is going all in on a setting, and we're going to actually have him on next week, next Sunday.
Nice.
He's going to be on. I think it should be next Sunday, right? Agile, yeah, next Sunday. Um, and uh, we're looking forward to that. Um, I'm we have our buddy Dean that is doing a system, and I really like that system, but I do get the feeling, and I've talked to bunch of other folks too about this, that we're getting almost there's almost a dearth of different systems out there. Saturation point, I think we might be
Hmm.
reaching with systems. So not that it you can't come up with a new system if it's good, but there's a whole lot of competition out there. So you
Yeah.
have to have something that makes it really worthwhile. Because we've had the creator, we had Todd from Blackwell Games on. He's got a D12 system that he came up with for Horde Wars. Dean's got a really kind of cool multi D20 system that he's coming up with. Every Games.
Yeah.
So but I really, really, really like seeing more stuff, uh, more settings, and more adventures, and stuff that's can be. It's almost like you look at the modules that we had back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and then compare them to the way that Wizards started going with D&D,
Hmm.
with these big books that you never finish, right? Because either
Yep.
something happens that you don't make it, you can't get through enough sessions before somebody's got to go to school, they got to go off to college, or they got to go off to they change jobs, or they had a kid, or you know what I mean, and
Yeah.
and life, and then next thing you know, the group falls apart. And
Yeah.
so these smaller adventures, I think, are uh really where it's at, you know.
I think so too, and that's exactly why I'm doing this season kind of structure,
Yeah.
and doing scenarios, individual scenarios that you put together as your group can,
Yeah.
as opposed to two book epic adventures like Cataclysm is. Um, and I, like I said, I will do those when something in the world changes big time. Otherwise, it's going to be the small little scenarios,
Right.
and I'm going to try to keep them as affordable as I can, which might end up being something to where maybe it's PDF only, and then once I have the entire collection of scenarios, like all 12 of the Black Spires written,
Yeah.
maybe you can get a hard book that has all
All
12.
12. Yeah.
And you
No,
still
that's
you still pick and choose which towers are you going to do.
that's
So,
reasonable. I mean, I buy the splat books from Trollord. Um,
mhm.
f- I've got a whole bunch of those, and they're reasonable price. Now I do like them in print, and they do print. They do I think those are perfect bound, which is the soft cover form. You know, um, and they're nice. They're perfect for what that is, and then of course they're big core books, or they sometimes released A0, A1 through A12 is a whole, all compiled together in one book, kind of like what you're talking about. And of
Mhm.
course, that's a hardcover book, and yes, I've got it.
Yep.
It's looking forward to running. If I could find people, that's my biggest problem is I love in-person gaming. That is my preference.
Yeah.
Um, you know, it, Yeah, I mean, VTTs became popular, particularly once COVID came along. That was kind of the only way that a lot of people could game.
Mhm.
Um, but there's just there's a difference between um, playing online versus playing playing in person in real life together, sitting around a table. It's much like, I equate it to the difference between listening to or watching a live performance on television, or listening to it on the radio, versus actually being at that performance.
Mhm.
It's a whole different world. There's a vibe, if you will.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there really is. And I would love to do in person. I really would. But small town. So
yeah,
I have to do VTT. That and my friends,
yeah, no, I get it.
we're all over the place. Um, but so there's a couple of things I would from the chat that I would really like to address.
Sure.
Sci-fi Snob said that while I have no problem with AI art, some people may not buy because of it. I actually have experienced this.
Yeah.
So I was able to scratch up some money and do some live host reads
Yeah.
through the Glass Cannon Network, and they're actually running a Shadowdark campaign right now.
Yeah.
And they're pretty good. They're entertaining. I like them. And when they first started doing a read for me, a comment popped up on Drive Through RPG from someone that said, I had to turn my AI filter off to even find this product. Sorry, but no sale. I don't support AI users. And it's
Yeah.
like, I went ahead and I messaged him back, and who knows if he'll ever read it, and who
Sure.
cares. But essentially, the gist of what I said was, I can't really afford a human artist, so either you can support me for my content, or my content cannot exist. Those are
Right.
the choices.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. No, I get it. No, I totally get it.
yeah.
And Outpost Nerd had asked also, any advice for a free to use world map maker?
So I use Incarnate. I
I
do. I
It's
do
not
pay.
free. It's not free, but it's reasonable.
Well, true. Now the free version, there is a free version, and it is pretty comprehensive.
Yeah,
But yeah, if you're trying to make these maps to actually like offer them for sale, you're going to want to subscribe. You're
because
going
of
to need.
you need that
Yeah.
license that says I'm using this for commercial purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, that, and you're going to want like all of the extra goodies that you
yeah,
get.
yeah,
But if you're just making maps for your own table or your own entertainment, the free version is more than enough.
yeah,
So
yeah. Did you saw a few?
yeah. So another one, Jeanette asked. Yep, that's the question.
That's Jeanette over there.
Um, okay. Happy anniversary, Jeanette.
She'll hear it in about 30 seconds or so.
So I would say that if you're brave and if your GM is not stingy with the gold and you hire like hirelings, you could potentially carefully go through Cataclysm with only one player. I don't recommend it. I recommend 3 to 4.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, you,
yeah. I
you
would.
could do more too if you wanted. Hello.
So, but 3 to 4, that's not bad, and that's kind of what I ideally like to have. I like to have 4 people at the table if I can.
Mhm.
Not bad if I can get a fifth person too, that just in case somebody doesn't make it.
Yeah.
Um, but as a DM or GM or castle keeper or whatever, you have to adjust. Um, Up and down, depending on the um,
Mhm.
I think avoiding the whole, well, everything's got to be balanced. Well, no, it doesn't have to be
No.
balanced, because you know the OSR mindset is uh it's a dangerous world, and you should know what you are able to take on or not able to take on.
Yeah.
And running away is not a bad thing.
Now, having said that, Aoethera Cataclysm
Yeah.
is not true to the OSR design philosophy.
Okay.
It is slightly balanced,
Yeah.
but that's because it is a introductory story,
Sure.
more or less.
Sure.
But again, I'm not telling you how to run your game. If you go through and you see, okay, this fight is supposed to have 3 elven soldiers, and you decide, you know what, these guys, they're not being challenged. We're going to put 8 elven soldiers in there. Hey,
Sure.
go for it. Tell me
Well,
how it turns out.
that's something that especially newer GMs need to realize, that it's okay to add more or take
Hmm.
a few away.
Hmm.
It's okay for them not to all have the same hit points, or for them all to have maximum hit points instead of the average.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to do that because and you won't know until your players get in there and how are they chewing up some of these creatures.
Yep.
And that's where the things lay. I know Cam's got to go. He's got to get ready, go powder his nose for the other show. Cam, what's coming up tonight?
Well, a very lazy show of we're just a chill stream. We are having a tool segment, and then we're going to talk about a little bit of things in the news. Of the Firefly thing was up this week, and Buffy the Vampire Slayer not
It's a
being renewed or for a
cartoon,
new thing.
really?
Yeah, so a few and some just miscellaneous topics in the sci-fi realm.
Okay. Well, I know Firefly is your absolute number one
Oh yeah,
favorite
my favorite. Yeah,
TV show, right?
yeah.
Um,
We'll talk about that.
so everybody, it's coming up in about 8 minutes over there on Sci-Fi Snobs channel. Be sure to check him out. I've got it in here. Where is it?
While you do, I do want to say thank you for coming on the show and telling us about your system and the world, especially. I'm a lore nerd, so I'm sure I will enjoy delving into that.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. This has been an awesome chat. I've really enjoyed it.
Oh, that's good. And well, we definitely would like to see you come back at some point in the future. And Texas you're pretty centrally located, so if I get my con off the ground too, you might have to come over to East Tennessee.
I'm not going to say no. I love the Smoky Mountains.
Yeah, if you do, they're in my backyard. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't drive to the filling station without seeing them. So,
Yeah.
all right. If you don't mind sticking around, I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna let Cam dip out. Everybody, I'm putting the link in here. I got the QR code as well for Sci-Fi. The Top Lofty Lounge is starting in 7 minutes. And next week we will be having I think it's the Neil Asher one I got up there. But at any rate, go to the Sci-Fi Snobs channel, catch Cam and Snob over there. And tomorrow I've got a game that I am running. Let's see, do I have that graphic handy? This is not the it's session. I think it's session 6 to be honest, or 5. But we're running the Crumbling Keep of Kashmir by Tom Wilson. So that's kind of cool. We're looking forward to that one. And of course, check out Aoethera. He's got the Lore and Legends up there on Drive Through RPG, and who knows, might be coming soon to Lulu. He's going to look into it. But
Oh yeah.
at any rate, so yeah, stick around for a minute. We'll have a little bit of wrap up afterwards. With that, Cam, anything left to say?
Nope. Just thanks everybody for coming in the chat.
Awesome. All right, so we're going to go ahead and roll the credits as soon as I can put us all back on here again. I got too many things up. No, don't show that. Don't show that. There. Okay, there we go. All right. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, everyone.